Well, Representative, thanks again for coming on the program, sir. Great talking to you.
How are you doing today?
Fantastic. Now, I understand that, fresh on the heels of the legislative passage of right-to-carry reform in Ohio, you're working on a brand-new bill that would reform Ohio's gun laws even further.
Well, it's a brand new bill for this General Assembly. I've introduced it to previous General Assemblies. This will be for the third time.
All right. What does your bill, House Bill 256, do?
Basically what it does is it just says that you have to go through the training, but you do not have to have the license itself. There are those in the Second Amendment community that simply do not like government databases, and the expense in the state of Ohio. You also those records are kept at the sheriff's office.
Mm-hmm. And so, what kind of response have you received from your fellow legislators on this bill?
Well, fellow legislators, those that support the Second Amendment, are for it, and those that are in different parts of the state due to their constituents, they're not going to sign on it.
Yeah. And I'm guessing with the fight over restaurant carry, where we really saw some really spurious arguments, I think, thrown out against restaurant carry. The idea of expanding the places where right-to-carry holders can legally carry, obviously that runs up against that brick wall of people who somehow feel that right-to-carry holders are going to be law-abiding where they are now. But if they're allowed to carry a firearm legally into any other location, all of a sudden they're going to turn into maniacs.
That seems to be the general synopsis, and they just can't seem to make that bridge. That when you look at concealed carry holders, those law-abiding citizens in every state you have it, including those that have a bill that's this one, which would be Arizona, Alaska, and Wyoming. Nothing's changed. The law-abiding. What's the difference? I keep asking that question. What's the difference between the law-abiding citizen in Arizona and myself in Ohio?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah. Well, I think you're absolutely right. It's just have you ever been able to get a straight answer when you ask that question?
No, it's similar to the one that you hear for Harley Davidson riders. If I had to explain it, you wouldn't understand.
Well, what can gun owners in the Buckeye State do right now to help move this legislation forward?
Well, do what they've always done: be vigilant, talk to their legislators, and talk about talk in public, wherever there's a public forum. Help those that understand. Help those that don't understand. Understand. And it's like the legislator that was always opposed to concealed carry until he was held up a couple blocks from his home, and now he supports concealed carry.
Mm-hmm.
And not everybody's going to go through a life or a life-changing ordeal. It was for him, but that doesn't happen to everybody. And you seem to there are all these cultural divides where those who grow up in the rural areas do not seem to have a problem with it, but those who grow up in urban areas do.
Yeah, and I hope that that's going to change. I mean, I know it's a long time coming, but you go back 50, 60 years, there was actually a firearms owning culture, even in urban areas. There were high school rifle teams. There were dads who could take their kids out to the range on the weekends, and you had a culture of responsible gun ownership. Frankly, I think over the last 50 years, urban cities have done a lot to destroy that culture of responsible gun ownership, and they replace it with this sort of notion that guns are bad and nobody should ever own a gun for any reason whatsoever. I don't think that philosophy's worked out that well, Representative. I kind of like the way it works when we encourage people to be responsible gun owners.
I agree with you. There's nothing wrong with having classes, teaching responsibility. I remember a statistic that was, I believe, put out by NRA that over 50% of the homes, residents in America, have a firearm in them.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? For those that don't, children play. And I would want younger adults or children to know that when they go into a home that has a firearm and their home doesn't, they need to know what to do when they come across something like that. So responsible teaching about firearms there's nothing wrong with it.
Absolutely. Well, Representative, thank you so much, sir, for coming on the program. Always a pleasure getting a chance to talk with you, and hope we can do it again soon.
Thank you very much, and you have a good day.
Thank you. State Representative John Adams joining us here on NRAnews.com and Sirius XM Patriot.